Victoria has recorded 208 new cases of coronavirus and 17 deaths in the past 24 hours. There were 182 cases yesterday and 13 deaths. Stephen Schubert joins us now from Melbourne. So Stephen, just take us through the details of the latest figures from Victoria.
Good afternoon. The number of new coronavirus cases has gone up just a little bit today. 208 new cases recorded in the last 24 hours. That compares to 182 yesterday, and the previous day it was 179. So slowly ticking up, although the 7-day average is still heading down. I can tell you it's 218 today. This time last week it was 328. So that is good news that trend line is still heading down. Unfortunately, 17 more deaths recorded today in Victoria in the last 24 hours. I can also tell you that 585 Victorians are in hospital, 32 in ICU, and 21 of those people are on ventilators. There's also 536 healthcare workers in the active cases, and that's come after DHHS, the Department of Health and Human Services, has revealed that hospitals in Dandenong and Cabrini in Melbourne's southeast have also recorded positive cases amongst their staff. We're not sure exactly how many at this point. Premier Daniel Andrews has just been speaking in Melbourne. He's also revealed that 25,000 Victorians have accessed support payments of $450. That's to help deal with the problems of casualised workforces, people who are going to work to keep getting paid while they are waiting for a test of coronavirus. So lots of people accessing that payment. The Chief Health Officer, Brett Sutton, was defiant in today's press conference. He says that we are going to win this thing, and let's have a listen to what he said earlier in Melbourne.
So the numbers are bouncing around a little bit, but we're not going to see, 300s and 400s again in Victoria, not under my watch at least. It would be great to see numbers going down even further, but I still do expect that we're on a trajectory, a 7-day moving average that sees it continue to decrease. But we do have to be doing all of those essential things. They are simple, sometimes they sound really trite to be repeating, but essentially the transmission that's still occurring is sometimes because people have forgotten those really basic but very essential elements.
So some encouraging words there from Brett Sutton, Stephen, but we also heard the Premier saying that people cannot give in to fatigue with the restrictions. What's the latest from police on whether people are following the public health rules?
There always seem to be a few people who aren't doing the right thing, Miriam. 199 people have been fined by Victoria Police in the last 24 hours. That includes 20 people for failing to wear a face covering when leaving home, 14 people fined at the checkpoints which are on the main roads out of Melbourne, and 73 people fined for breaching the curfew which is in place for the Greater Melbourne area. Now, some examples of that is one man who told police he was aware of the restrictions but just got bored at home, and so he went and visited a friend. 5 men who were found inside a vehicle in Airport West who told police they were just out chilling, and 2 women and 3 men who were found drinking together by police, and when asked if they had a valid reason to be breaching the restrictions in place, they said they were just idiots. And for that, they'll be paying a fine of about $1,600 each. So that is a pretty expensive night out.
Our reporter Stephen Schubert there in Melbourne with the latest. Queensland has recorded another 2 coronavirus cases linked to the Brisbane Youth Detention Centre outbreak. It brings the cluster to 9 infections, with both of today's cases from the same family, including a young boy. Stephanie Zillman has more from Brisbane.
Relatively good news today, just 2 new cases overnight, bringing the state's total now related to the Youth Detention Centre cluster to 9. Just 16 active cases in the state, 5 of whom are in hospital. None of those patients are in ICU. Of the 2 new cases confirmed overnight, one of those people is an adult, the other is a male child, both of the same family group. And just on that, that's precisely why the restrictions at this point in time are only targeting family homes. But as well, the government reminded Queenslanders today that The testing rate across the state is just simply not what it would like. At the peak of the pandemic, we were testing up to 20,000 people. Overnight in Queensland, just over 6,000. So the government really imploring anyone with any symptoms at all to come forward and be tested. Dr. Jeanette Young, the Chief Health Officer, spoke this morning. Let's have a listen to what she had to say.
I hope the weather's a bit better today so more people can come forward and get tested. We've got all of those clinics open. They're ready to have people come forward. The queues were not long, so please come forward and get tested if you've got any symptoms at all. Remember, it's people with symptoms that are critical. If you're not sure, of course, come forward and get tested, but if you've got symptoms, you are the people we want to test. You are really important for us to test.
Dr. Jeanette Young there. And Stephanie, what's happening with restrictions across parts of Queensland?
Well, Miriam, weekend plans for Queenslanders were certainly dampened with people waking to the news yesterday that restrictions were being reimposed on gatherings at people's private homes, but also in places like parks, so picnics being affected there. That figure had been revised down as of yesterday to now just 10 people allowed to gather in a family home or in a park setting like a picnic, for instance. The Premier clarified this morning as well that at this stage the government isn't planning on reimposing any restrictions for businesses, and in particular that's good news for sporting fans in particular, with so many games now being played in Queensland. So no further changes to that would affect businesses. It's really only the family homes and private gatherings that the government is wanting to tackle here, with the Premier Annastacia Palaszczuk highlighting this morning that lessons have been learned from the Victoria example. Let's have a listen to what she had to say.
But businesses have COVID-safe plans in place. So what we're saying is if you are seeing crowds, you should avoid those crowds. What we have seen in southern states, especially like in Victoria, a lot of transmission happened in the family homes where large families were gathering. That is why we have immediately reduced those gathering numbers in homes. So we've looked at the evidence and we're acting on the evidence in the best interests of people.
Queensland Premier Annastacia Palaszczuk speaking a short time ago. Miriam.
4 new cases of coronavirus have been reported in New South Wales, 2 of which were in hotel quarantine. Also included is a second Sydney hotel security guard whose case was reported yesterday. The Health Department is investigating how he came to be infected. The guard worked several shifts this month, including one at the Marriott Hotel with another infected guard who caught the virus from an overseas traveller.
Contact tracing and investigations into the source of infection of the new case, including potential links to the previously reported case in a security guard at the hotel, are continuing. At this point, there's no indication of any additional risk to the community from the hotel.